Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. Today I am very honored and very humbled. I get to try two of the most rare pours you could have from Buffalo Trace. And there are some pretty rare pours of Buffalo Trace out there, no doubt. But these are not your big special allocated bottles. It's something a little bit different. So what we have here, courtesy of one of the guys in our Patreon and Discord group, Randy, appreciate you. But this is the kind of stuff you get when you know somebody. Right? When you know somebody, or you know somebody who knows somebody. You get what I'm saying here? So these are, first and foremost, we have a Weller Antique 107, but it's not a blend of barrels. It's not a batch. No, this is a single barrel that was selected by an ambassador of Buffalo Trace. He tasted it, selected it, and had it proofed down to 107, so it would be Antique 107, single barrel. Hand selected by an ambassador. That's one of the things that we get to try today is a single barrel offering of Antique 107, which is pretty cool because where's my bottle of it? It's over here somewhere. There it is. It's the red one. Boom, that one. I've got the 107. I'll just bring it up. So it's a single barrel of this, which is candy. I mean, I'm not the biggest weeder fan. I will never turn down a pour of Antique 107 because it's like cherry cola. So good. And then the next thing we have is a same situation, right? We are used to having Stagg as batches, right? So this one in particular is, what is this, batch 23B. My bottle on my shelf right now is 23B. One of the things I have noticed, by the way, little side tangent here. I love Stagg. I think Stagg is friggin' delicious. Here's the one thing that I noticed. I feel like they do this on purpose. They wrap a label around the back of the bottle that is black, just flat black on the inside of it. So that when you are looking head on at the bottle, it looks so dark. It looks like black juice. And it kind of gives this impression that it's darker, richer. And I don't know if they do that on purpose, because even since it wraps around the bottle, even when you turn it, it still has that black vibe to it. So I don't know if that's on purpose to make it look darker in some capacity. I wouldn't call it dishonest or anything, but it definitely feels intentional. Anyways, that being said, we are used to having batches of the Stagg juice. But we have same scenario, okay? So this is the same club, essentially, with this ambassador in it. We've got a pick of a single barrel of Stagg distillate. And not diluted. It is 137.9 proof. This is almost hazmat Stagg. Single barrel. Not a batch. Craziness. And I get to try these things today. How friggin' cool is that? This is a case of knowing somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody and reaping the benefits. I'm going to pour them, let them open up a little bit, and then we'll try them. We'll see if they're actually as good as I'm hoping they're going to be. Let's do it. We'll let them open up a little bit, roll the glasses a little even, some gentle agitation. Sometimes we all need a little gentle agitation, don't we? Things get monotonous. Need someone to get in there and shake you up a little bit. Have their way with you a little bit. Brings us back to our senses, opens us up a bit. Dude, I'm rolling this Stagg right now, and I'm just marveling at the color. Deep, rich, mahogany. Digging it. Okay, let's get in here on the single barrel, 107. Something is immediately apparent to me on the nose. And it's that I'm getting, that cherry cola note that is lacking the fizz, right? It's not fizzy, but it's got that sweet cherry cola note. That's there, like I'm used to getting on Weller 107. But I'm also getting this great barrel funk note that I'm not used to getting on Antique 107, okay? Antique 107 isn't like the oldest juice on the block, and so it doesn't tend to carry that funk. But I'm willing to bet that this barrel had a little more age on it than the average to what this averages out to in the blend, right? And so I'm getting that nice, funky Kentucky warehouse vibe on the nose, which I love. So that is a very pleasant addition to what I already like, 107. All right, well, let's try it. Cheers. Again, this is a story of an addition of a component, of a variable I'm not used to getting on Antique 107. Right up front, I get hit with that wave of that cola sweetness. A little bit of that dark cherry comes in shortly after there in the mid palate. But then I get this wave of this seasoned tannic oak spice on the tail end of the palate that then drags into the finish. I get this wonderful oaky spice quality, that tannic sweet spice that you get off of well-seasoned oak. And I think this is a trend here because we were picking up some good funky qualities on the nose, which made me think maybe more time in a warehouse, which means more time in contact with oak. And then on the finish of this, we're getting this nice drawn out sweet tannic oak, that spicy seasoned oak. And I love that addition. I'm not used to getting that on Antique 107. It's the same proof as what we're used to, but can you guys, I don't know if it's focusing enough. Can you see how thick these runs are on the glass? Look at that, running all down the side of the glass there. I don't feel like it's usually that chewy. It's kind of adding this really creamy component to the drink, to the pour, that I, again, am not used to experiencing with Antique 107. I gotta say, the ambassador knew what he was doing when he picked this barrel, because it is everything you love about 107, but adding some great new variables to modify that experience a little bit. That is heckin' delicious. The things I would let this whiskey do to me, things which I shall not utter here, for fear of being demonetized, because you know my videos that get 200 views, they make the big bucks, and I do not want to lose that 25 cents I was going to make on this video. So I will bite my tongue, and I'll be a good Ryan. Let's move on over to the nearly hazmat Stagg single barrel. That's just crazy to me that this is what I'm trying right now. Crazy to me. These are things people don't get to drink. This isn't something that we drink. It's hard enough to get this, let alone this. Visually speaking, it is very compelling to look at. Nice, dark, rich color to it. A little tinge of red. Okay, sort of this auburn kind of a note to it. Shall we? Good grief, that nose is assertive. There's that age-old saying, you mess with the stag, you get the horns. Or something like that. This is giving me the horns right now. Big, bold. Big punch to the nostrils. But here's where I'm getting this, a candied plum note. Like if you were to render down fresh plum in a sugar syrup of some kind. I'm getting this great reddish fruit, a dark reddish fruit with that candied vibe to it. I think maybe my favorite thing I'm getting on the nose is this sweet tobacco note. I mentioned before, I'm not really a cigar guy. I have tried them before, and it didn't really stick. But every now and then you would have like a really sweet tobacco cigar, and this reminds me of that on the nose. But yeah, candied plum and sweet tobaccos, and the notes like you just walked into an active wood shop. There's dust and particulates in the air. You smell the leather-wrapped steel tools and that sawdust. What a beautiful nose. Let's try it. Cheers. Holy cow. Sheesh. You ever have Good and Plenty? They're like the white and pink licorice flavored candies. This reminds me that I get that sweet, and I get that anisey sort of black licorice note, but it's not overbearing. I don't really like to eat black licorice, okay? I'm not really a fan of black licorice. What I am a fan of is that anise black licorice note being a variable, being a component that sort of elevates everything else. It's there, but it elevates the sweetness. It elevates that candied plum right on the front end of the palate. So a little bit of that licorice, a little bit of that candied plum, and just this tidal wave of oak leading into the finish. What is that I'm getting? What is that? Dial in on that. What is that? The finish is this sort of drawn out combo of what I say feels like instead of tastes like, because it's so thick. Feels like sorghum molasses. You know what I mean? Right at the back end of the palate in here on the finish. Just kind of hangs out right back here. That sorghum molasses. And this like almost a note that makes me think of a fire. But right as I'm getting it started, we love to do fires. Okay, we have a wonderful neighborhood, great neighbors, lots of other families with kids. And so what we do, we've got a big backyard with a play set in the back. So what we do is we bring the fire pit out front and into the driveway. We set up a bunch of chairs, especially now. Like now that we're into autumn, now that we're into the fall season, it's perfect for this. We like to start fires, and people walking through the neighborhood, they know fire pit's out. Come on in. So they'll come over, they'll plop down in a chair, we'll hang out, we'll chat. Our kids, their kids, we'll all go to the backyard and play. But as I'm getting the fire set up, I have like a pile of kindling things just to get things going, so I don't have to buy fire starters, right? Fire starters are expensive. I don't buy those things. I'm making 25 cents a video. I can't afford fire starters. So I got a pile of, a container out in the garage that I use for kindling stuff. It gathers there. One of the things that we get is like brown paper bags. And this is a very long way of explaining this. But on that finish, as I get that sweetness of that sorghum molasses, I almost get this note of when I'm first starting a fire and I put the brown paper bags in there, I tear them up into strips and disperse them and I light them on fire and you get this burnt brown paper bag sort of a note. And that sounds maybe like a not great thing, but it is. It is so good. It works so well here, this sort of burnt quality that it gives you a little bit of that char note mixed in with that sweet, rich molasses. And I think it's friggin' delicious. What a heck of a sip. I have this dilemma when I have pours like this where I'm like, man, that was so good. I should probably redecant it back into one of these bottles and save it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to drink the rest of this before my wife gets home and pretend like I did not day drink. And I am going to trust you to not rat me out. Okay? And I don't know. Some of you guys in the Discord and our Patreon community are family friends. And I know you have her phone number. You could text her right now and be like, Ryan's day drinking. Just wanted to let you know, while you're slaving away at the school, working at the school, and getting ridiculed by fourth graders and trying to endure the shame, he's at home day drinking. You could do that. Just know that if you do, I will know. And I will be very disappointed. Randy, thank you so much, because I know that these were not easy for you to get your hands on. And the fact that you shared them with me, dude, your kindness is overwhelming. Which is why I went and stood in line for almost 3 hours to pick this up for him. And I got one from Mikey too in the Discord. They were like, because we did our last virtual bottle share, I sent in samples of a toasted barrel finished Dragon's Milk Origin that I picked up at the distillery. I had to wait in line for, again, almost 3 hours in the cold for that bottle, and sent it out. Bottled up all the samples and sent them out to the guys in our bottle share. And some of them were like, I need that. So Randy and Mikey said, next time they do a drop, if you don't mind picking me up some of that. So it did. I went and I stood in line, and there was a limit of 2 bottles, basically. They had other stuff, like a honey cask that was no limit. But they were like, these are the special drops, the single barrels that were hand-selected by the head distiller, and they were a limit. There was 2 single barrels that they were dropping, limit of 1 of each of them per customer. So picked up 2 bottles, 1 for these gentlemen, because they're awesome. Thank you for sending in these samples, Randy. I'm happy to return the favor. Mikey's the one that sent in, like we recently covered the Shanks, 2024 Shanks. That was Mikey. So we have this wonderful community where we're all just trying to help each other out, help each other get the things they want, right? This bottle of Old Overholt, mine was getting low. Randy sent that in to me because he knew I had access to this and he had access to that. And that's what our community is all about, right? It's like, I know what you want and I have access to it. You know what I want and you have access to it. Let's help each other out. And that's what I love about our community. You guys are awesome. So anyways, all this to say, all that sentimentality, right? I'm just bubbling with sentimentality today because I've had a nearly hazmat stag. But anyways, thanks so much for your support. Thanks for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you can live vicariously through me and imagine what it would be like to taste these bottles. And so with that, we say thank you, Patreon supporters, for your love and support. If you want to check out our Patreon, get involved in the events that we do and the cool stuff that we've got going on, feel free to click the link in the description or the pinned comment, not the pinned comment, just in the description, to the Patreon, and check it out. The base tier is just $1. It's basically free. And that will give you access to our Patreon lounge so you can see what's happening, be a part of the conversation, be a part of our community. But when it comes to registering for events, you may have to bump up to the $5 tier. That's entirely up to you. But we like to let you see what's going on before you make any kind of a commitment like that. Anyways, cheers, my friends. That was too soft. Cheers, my friends. Better. May you live richly and get better with age. And hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.